Silence hangs over an endless stretch of ocean, deep blue and unbroken in every direction. Sunlight glitters across its surface like molten silver. Beneath those calm waters, however, something ancient stirs. Something powerful. Something that has been waiting longer than human memory. Far beneath the waves, the earth begins to tremble. A faint shimmer of rising heat distorts the darkness. Tiny bubbles drift upward, quiet at first, almost invisible, like the steady exhale of a sleeping giant. But the ocean knows this breath. It knows the rhythm of what's coming. For nothing shapes the world more violently, or more creatively, than fire rising from the deep. A pulse of energy surges upward from the mantle, traveling through rock as if the planet itself is knocking from within. Pressure builds, tunneling toward freedom. The water above cools it, suppresses it, but only for a moment. When Earth wants to be reborn, nothing can hold it back. The bubbles multiply. The sea begins to shiver. Then a single shockwave booms through the depths, silent to human ears but felt by everything that swims or crawls or drifts. Fish scatter. Whales veer from their path. The deep ocean floor splits open like a wound, and from it, fire erupts. A fountain of glowing magma tears through the water, instantly turning liquid into steam so violently that the ocean itself seems to leap backward. A massive plume of ash and vapor explodes upward, punching toward the surface like a phantom volcano trying to rise from the abyss. This is not destruction. This is birth. The ocean's surface bulges. Waves ripple outward in concentric rings, growing larger, stronger, more aggressive. The sky darkens as steam punches through the water and roars into the air. Nature's most dramatic sculptor is at work again. From airplanes miles overhead, the eruption looks like a monstrous white flower blooming on the sea. From ships unlucky enough to be nearby, it looks like the ocean turning itself inside out. The water grows hotter. The plume grows taller. And somewhere deep below, magma keeps rising in a relentless surge, a river of glowing stone pouring from the mantle. Clouds of steam climb higher, twisting into monstrous forms in a sky that has turned the color of steel. Lightning crackles inside the ash-laden air as if the heavens themselves are welding the world back together. The sea shakes. The earth shakes. For the first time in millennia, the planetary forces beneath this patch of ocean have found their outlet. The eruption grows so powerful that the water can no longer swallow it. The ocean begins to give way. A small, jagged mound of black rock, still hissing, still steaming, breaks the surface like the first tooth of a rising predator. For a moment, it is barely there. Waves crash over it, trying to reclaim it. But the earth presses upward again. More rock rises. Lava hardens instantly on contact with water, turning to new land within seconds. The black mound becomes a ridge. The ridge becomes a backbone. Waves are no longer claiming it, they are bowing to it. Land is being born. A newborn island, forged in fire. The eruption intensifies. Lava explodes through the surface, arcing high into the air, falling back in showers of incandescent stone. Every impact builds more land. Every fragment cools and becomes part of a future mountain. The roar is deafening. The ocean responds with towering waves, boiling at the edges where molten rock plunges into it. Steam pillars twist upward like ghosts of ancient titans. Birds flee. Marine life rushes away, but nothing stops the rise. With each passing minute, the young island grows. First the size of a house, then a city block, then something that can be seen from the horizon. The planet is sculpting itself, grain by grain, explosion by explosion. And yet, this violent birth is only the beginning. When the eruption finally pauses, the world falls into an eerie calm. The air is still thick with ash and heat. The water swirls around the new land in confused currents. Cooling rock cracks loudly, releasing small bursts of steam like the last sighs of a weary warrior. The island stands dark and jagged, its edges glowing faintly red beneath a thin white veil of vapor. It looks like a scar on the ocean, ugly, harsh, unfinished. But every island begins this way. Volcanic rock cools quickly, shrinking as it turns black and dense. What was fluid moments ago becomes solid enough to walk on, though no human would survive here yet. Poisonous gases drift across the surface. Temperatures remain blistering. The air tastes of sulfur and burnt minerals. And the ground still trembles. Deep below, the magma chamber is far from empty. The Earth's pulse continues, slow but steady. It is preparing for the next phase. The island is not done growing. Not even close. Hours later, the tremors return. A faint sound, like the cracking of a massive tree, echoes through the new terrain. The water around the island begins to shimmer again. Then the ocean detonates. Another eruption blasts upward, this time from a new vent beside the growing landmass. Lava flashes into steam so violently that a shockwave ripples across the waves and shakes the newborn island like a child's toy. Debris rains down in molten arcs. The sky reddens. Thunder booms through ash-thick air. The island doubles in size, then triples. Rivers of fiery lava flow into the sea, building natural fortresses of stone. Cliffs rise where the ocean once lay undisturbed. New vents open, spewing black sand into the air that settles like volcanic snow across the landscape. Where there was once nothing, a world is forming, raw, untamed, and alien. The ocean fights back, hammering the shoreline with relentless force. Waves try to erode what the volcano creates, but the eruption is too powerful. Land rises faster than water can tear it down. This is the eternal dance between fire and sea. Days pass, then weeks. The eruption continues in unpredictable bursts, sometimes gentle, sometimes cataclysmic. The island expands outward like a living organism, growing tentacles of lava that harden into rocky plateaus. Craters form, ravines split the land, rivers of molten stone glow like veins under the skin of a newborn creature. Ash clouds spread across the sky, turning sunsets into surreal paintings of orange and violet. Lightning often erupts from within these volcanic clouds, streaking across the horizon in sudden bursts of energy. Life watches from a distance. Seabirds circle cautiously, sensing warmth and opportunity. Fish skirt the shallows, curious but wary. Even the wind seems to change its pattern, adjusting to the new obstacle rising from the sea. The planet is adjusting to its new creation. Months later, the eruption finally weakens. The land has taken shape. A rugged, black island surrounded by a halo of steam and shimmering currents. The ground is still warm enough to scorch bare feet. Toxic gases still curl upward from cracks. But something incredible is happening. Rain falls for the first time. It hisses violently as it touches the still warm rock, sending tiny plumes of steam drifting into the air. The water trickles into the cracks, cooling them slowly, shaping new channels, eroding the sharpest edges. Rain is the planet's first embrace. And in that embrace, the island begins to breathe. The heat fades enough for the winds to settle. Clouds thin. The sky clears. Sunlight strikes the fresh rock, warming it gently instead of violently. The island, which once glowed red, now sits black and silent against the shining sea. It looks dead, but this is the illusion. Because in the life cycle of volcanic islands, silence is not death, it is gestation. The island is preparing for the next transformation. Say, continue, and I will deliver the next ~1/3 of the script. You said, continue. ChatGPT said, here is the next full section of the 5,000-word cinematic script for Volcano Odyssey, Birth of an Island. No part, no narrator, just pure, powerful storytelling. When you're ready, say, continue, and I'll deliver the final section. The first seeds of change arrive quietly. Carried by the wind, microscopic particles drift across the surface of the new island. Ashes of life from faraway continents, grains of pollen, spores of hardy fungi. Most die instantly. The rock is still too inhospitable, too barren, too harsh for anything delicate. But a few survive. They cling to the stone, hiding in its smallest crevices, waiting for moisture. Waiting for shade, waiting for the temperature to shift just enough. And when the rain returns, they awaken. Faint green threads, so small they seem imaginary, begin weaving themselves across the black rock. These are the pioneer species, the first to colonize new land, the unsung heroes of planetary rebirth. They break down volcanic stone grain by grain, forming dust. Dust becomes sand. Sand becomes the foundation of soil. The island is learning how to breathe life. As months turn into a year, the once raw volcanic terrain begins to transform in subtle but profound ways. Cracks widen, filled with cooled lava that fractures again under heat and cold. Tides carve tide pools along the edges, where tiny organisms begin to flourish. Algae, microscopic crustaceans, and plankton drifting in and out with the moon-cold water. Birds arrive next. Their migration routes shift ever so slightly, drawn by the rising air currents above the island's warm surface. They land cautiously, hopping across the rough basalt like explorers stepping onto an undiscovered planet. With them comes the next wave of new life. Seeds fall from their feathers. Berries drop from their beaks. Nutrients settle into shallow pits alongside decaying plant matter the birds leave behind. Bit by bit, the black island gathers hints of brown, then green. One day, the first small plant pushes through, a tiny shrub clinging to the slope of an ancient lava flow. Its roots are thin but determined, weaving themselves into every microscopic crack to hold steady against the wind. It is fragile, it is alone, but it is enough, because where one plant grows, others follow. Below the surface, the volcano still murmurs. Heat radiates upward in subtle pulses, warming the soil, creating microclimates ideal for hardy vegetation. The island is a paradox, both dangerous and nurturing, deadly yet fertile. Weather patterns shift around it, creating swirling breezes and frequent rain showers. Storms collide with its rising cliffs, dropping more nutrients and seeds stolen from distant lands. The ocean delivers driftwood, kelp, and the remains of long-traveled species that decompose into richer soil. In less than a decade, the once barren volcanic plain transforms into a patchwork of early ecosystems. Moss blankets old lava fields. Grasses root themselves in pockets of soil. Flowers bloom along the sheltered ridges, splashing color across black stone like paint on a canvas. What began as a violent eruption is becoming a sanctuary. But the earth is not finished with this island. Deep underground, magma continues to shift. Pressure slowly builds again, like a heartbeat gathering strength. The ground trembles faintly at night. The air sometimes carries the unmistakable tang of sulfur again. Animals sense it first. Birds change their nesting grounds. Creatures of the sea swim farther from shore. Even the insects that have recently settled into the island's new vegetation vanish abruptly, leaving their abandoned burrows behind. Something is coming. A low rumble moves through the island one early morning, deep, resonant, and unmistakable. The plants tremble. Dust spills from cliff edges. The ocean ripples as if disturbed by something rising beneath it. Then the world fractures. A burst of steam erupts from a crack near the central ridge. Moments later, a plume of ash punches skyward, staining the heavens a dark, foreboding gray. The volcano has awakened again. This eruption is smaller than the first, but no less dramatic. Lava bursts from a newly formed vent, carving its way down the slopes like a glowing river of destruction. Plants sizzle instantly. Small forests of shrubs vanish in waves of flame and smoke. The island shakes under its own rebuilding. But this time, something is different. This time, the island has life, and life fights back. Soil dampened by recent rains slows the spread of fire. Steam vents redirect the flow. Hardened rock from previous eruptions channels the new lava into narrow corridors. Birds evacuate their nests but return once the lava cools. Seeds trapped under layers of ash survive the heat because the ash itself shields them. Destruction becomes fuel. Within months, the burned regions bloom again, richer than before. Thick beds of volcanic ash mix with decomposed plant material, creating some of the most nutrient-dense soil on Earth. Larger plants begin to appear. Ferns, shrubs, even hardy young trees that dig their roots deep into the evolving ground. What looked like a setback is, in truth, the next phase of growth. Volcanic islands are forged in cycles: fire, destruction, renewal. Each eruption creates more land, more soil, more opportunity. Life adapts, life expands, life learns to thrive in the rhythm of fire and rebirth. The island is now entering its second transformation. Years pass, then decades. The island grows not upward now, but outward, spreading its green cloak across old lava fields. Forests take root. Birds build permanent colonies. Insects evolve to match the new environment. Lizards arrive, drifting on rafts of vegetation carried by ocean currents. They find a paradise here. No predators, warm climate, endless territory. Some become bigger, some become faster, some develop colors never seen before. Isolation breeds evolution. The island begins crafting its own species, creatures found nowhere else on Earth. Life is writing a new chapter here, sculpted by volcanic heat, ocean winds, and the relentless creativity of nature. The island's interior changes too. Where steaming vents once dotted the landscape, cool pools of water now collect. Rainforest canopies form. Birds fill the air with song, a sound impossible to imagine during the island's fiery birth. Turtles nest on its beaches. Dolphins gather along its shores. Whales pass nearby, singing deep songs that echo through underwater valleys created by the island's rise. What began as a violent explosion has become an entire world. A world that should not exist. A world born from nothing. Yet all islands face the same truth. Birth is only the beginning. Storms gather strength as the island's presence alters ocean currents. Waves erode the youngest cliffs. Rivers of rainwater carve deep channels through the land. Every year reshapes the island, refining it, sculpting it into smoother forms. What was once jagged becomes soft. What was once black turns deep green. The island is maturing, and in its maturity, it is becoming beautiful. But deep beneath its surface, the magma chamber still breathes. It always has. Somewhere far below sea level, pressure begins to rise again. Not fast, not violently, but steadily. Like a reminder from the earth, this creation is only temporary. Nothing in nature is permanent. The island stands tall against the horizon, unaware of the forces preparing to reshape it once more. And so, the Odyssey continues. Time moves differently on an island born from fire. Years blend into decades, decades into centuries. Waves continue their endless assault on its shores, shaping cliffs, carving beaches, smoothing once razor-sharp lava into rounded stones polished by 1,000 storms. The island grows quieter. It is no longer the violent newborn that clawed its way out of the sea in a storm of ash and lightning. It has settled into the slow rhythms of the earth. Forests thicken, soil deepens, creatures multiply, scattering across its hills and valleys like guardians of an ancient secret. Life has not just arrived here, it has claimed the island. Roots dig deeper with every generation. Trees stand taller, their branches weaving into a green cathedral that hums with insects and the soft flutter of wings. The wind that once whipped across barren rock now whispers through leaves and moss. The air tastes of moisture and growth, not sulfur and smoke. The island has become a sanctuary. But the sanctuary is built upon fire. And deep beneath the ground, the fire stirs once more. One night, long after the winds have died and the stars have taken their places in a perfectly clear sky, the island trembles, a slow, deep shudder that feels almost like the exhale of some enormous buried creature. Birds fly from treetops in a sudden burst of panic. Small animals freeze, listening to the rhythm of the earth, waiting for a sign. Then another tremor comes, and another. The ocean responds before the forest does. Waves thicken, gaining height as unseen forces shift the seafloor. A faint glow begins to pulse from the shoreline, first subtle, then unmistakable. The volcano is awakening again. But this time, the island is older, stronger, wiser. Its slopes are lined with centuries of rock and soil. Its forests are dense. Its rivers cut deep channels. The eruption that once obliterated everything now meets an ecosystem capable of enduring the storm. The earth cracks open. A burst of fire shoots skyward, brilliant, violent, magnificent. Lava fountains stretch hundreds of meters into the night air, painting the sky in shades of molten orange. Ash spirals upward, illuminated by the glow of the eruption like galaxies of burning snow. But the eruption is not a scream of destruction this time. It is a pulse of renewal. Lava flows down the mountain in glowing rivers, burning through old forests but also creating new land as it cools. Trees fall, but their ashes enrich the soil. Small creatures flee, but they return after the fires fade. Birds circle overhead, riding the hot updrafts as if observing the island's transformation. The eruption churns for days. But eventually, like all storms, it begins to fade. Lava slows, cooling into dark crust. Ash settles gently across the treetops like gray snow. The earth's rumbling quiets into a distant heartbeat again. The island exhales. And once more, life begins to reclaim what was lost. Decades later, the newest lava plains bloom with fresh plants. Moss spreads across cooling stone. Ferns burst from cracks created by shrinking lava. Seeds deposited by winds and birds take root again, writing the next chapter of the island's evolution. What once seemed like destruction has become the foundation for greater life. This is the rhythm of volcanic worlds. Fire creates, fire destroys, fire renews. Over centuries, the island's coastline reshapes itself again and again. Beaches expand or vanish entirely. Cliffs collapse into the ocean, forming deep underwater canyons that become nurseries for marine creatures. Coral reefs build themselves along the calmer shores, turning the island's underwater edges into thriving cities of color. Above the surface, the forests grow denser, thicker, more diverse. Species that arrived by accident evolve into creatures uniquely adapted to this land of fire and storm. Some lose their ability to fly. Some change color. Some become larger or smaller, shaped by isolation and abundance. The island becomes a living laboratory of evolution. A world crafted by fire, sculpted by water, colonized by life. Time flows onward, patient and unbothered by human measurements. Storms carve valleys. Earthquakes raise peaks. The volcano erupts occasionally, never as violently as its birthplace, but enough to remind the island of its origins. Each eruption adds new chapters, layers of rock stacked atop ancient foundations like geological memories. From high above, the island transforms into a masterpiece, a mosaic of black volcanic ridges, emerald forests, shining beaches, and crescent bays. It stands against the ocean with an identity forged by fire and perfected by time. The world around it changes. Sea levels rise and fall. Temperatures fluctuate. Currents shift. Clouds drift. Continents move. But the island remains, adapting with every challenge. It is no longer a newborn. It is no longer fragile. It is a monument to Earth's power and patience. A testament to what happens when destruction and creation dance together long enough to shape something new. And then, an era comes when humans finally arrive. Thousands of years after its birth, sails appear on the horizon, tiny white triangles drifting toward the island. For the first time, the land that fought its way out of the ocean becomes home to footsteps, voices, and stories. People marvel at its towering cliffs, its warm volcanic soils, its abundant forests and rivers. They build homes. They plant crops. They carve pathways across slopes shaped by ancient lava. But even they understand something profound. This island belongs first to the earth. Everything built here, every village, every field, every harbor, sits atop a world that can awaken in an instant. And they respect it. They create legends about the fire beneath the ground, tales passed from generation to generation about how this land was born in thunder and flame. They learn to read the tremors, the smoke, the sulfurous warnings whispered by the volcano. Human civilization thrives here, not because it conquers nature, but because it listens to it. The island becomes a partnership between humanity and the earth, a place where ancient forces and living beings coexist in a delicate but powerful balance. Centuries later, when scientists set foot on its shores, they stand in awe. They measure rocks that were once rivers of fire. They study plants that evolved in volcanic soil. They observe creatures shaped by isolation. They map cliffs formed by ancient detonations. And with every discovery, one truth becomes undeniable. Volcanic islands are not accidents of nature. They are miracles of planetary engineering. Explosions may seem destructive, but they are the Earth's way of resetting the stage, of creating new land, new life, new possibilities. The island is proof that even the planet's most violent moments are part of an intricate cycle of renewal. From a patch of lifeless ocean to a thriving ecosystem. From fire to forest. From chaos to creation. The island stands as a living chronicle of Earth's deepest forces. And somewhere beneath it all, in caverns of molten stone miles below the surface, the magma still moves. Slowly, quietly, patiently. The story is not over. It will never be over. Because this is the true nature of a volcanic world. Everything that rises will someday fall. Everything that dies will someday return. Everything created through fire will someday be reclaimed by it. But between those moments, between birth and rebirth, an entire world can flourish. An island can grow, life can thrive, and Earth can tell another chapter of its endless, beautiful odyssey. The sea that once held nothing now holds a world born from fire, a world alive, a world still becoming. This is the Volcano Odyssey. This is the birth of an island.